Howdy, 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 all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome back to day 4 here on Anti-Tools Farm. Day 4 of spring here on Anti-Tools Farm. It is not day 4.
Spring year 3.
Yes.
These are all important details.
We have been here for a little bit, as you might have guessed by the wild swarms of pigs roving across our land.
Those are not wild at all. They're very well trained. I trained Buttload and Quality Bob and a ton of pigs. That's the pig's name. Willie's Blob. Willie's Clothes. We trained all of them so well.
You did. You did a great job.
And I'll train them some more. Petting them right now. Sorry, that was supposed to be a Captain Holt reference and it didn't come out quite right.
What's the original?
And I'll do it again when people tell him that he's already told them that story.
Ah.
Yeah, that's some good Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I really enjoyed that show.
Me too.
It was a great show. Berkeley, I did one thing in Steam to one game. And now my controller doesn't work by default in all my other games, and I have to go set it up from scratch.
Oh, that's a horrible way for Steam to be. I'm sorry.
I am very mad at the guy who owns Steam. I don't remember his name, but when I do, I'm going to shake my fist and shout his name.
That's Mr. Water P. Vapor, right?
Damn you, Mr. Water P. Vapor! Is that a chemistry joke? Sort of.
Just, it's called Steam. That was the only joke.
Wait, it's man. Gabe. It's Gabe something. Gabe Newell. That's it.
Gabe Newell. That's just 2 first names, isn't it?
I have never met somebody named Newell as a first name.
I might be thinking of... I think there was a host on Great British Bake Off called Noel. That might be what I'm thinking of.
Is that the emo British comedian? He's so funny.
Yeah, I love him.
I was watching IT Crowd, which is a show both entertaining and terrible at the same time. And I just really enjoy the goth vampire, but who's sensitive.
I didn't make it past episode 2, and I don't think I made it to the goth vampire who's sensitive.
Well,
unless we're talking about different shows.
I don't think so. I haven't seen all of the episodes, to be fair. But he gives a soliloquy about waking in the middle of the night to the sound of a crow calling 3 times outside of his window. And as he passed the window, he trod upon a Lego, and it hurt. And it's great.
It's beautiful and relatable. Babarma says Newell just triggered our Google Assistant. Like, your Hey Google?
Would that trigger it?
Sorry, that was a really rude thing of me to do.
Unlimited power, Berkeley. Think about all the things we could be searching for on other people's home assistants.
Ooh, scandalous. Well, I'm sorry, Babarma, for triggering your device, which shall not henceforth be named. That's super weird that I caught it. My daughter is very close to being able to use our virtual home assistant from the Alphabet Corporation. And I'm a little nervous for what it's going to be like when she can.
I am sorry, but I'm very distracted by what's going on over here.
What's going on over there?
Is this a spirit journey?
Oh, are you doing drugs with Emily?
I just walked in a door and suddenly this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, her door is a drug in this universe.
Dang.
Nah, I think you're just watching one of her dreams.
Why are you here? Why are any of us here, Emily? Rainbow shines. Can I move? I can't move. The captain's hat really does not fit the moment here. The rainbows reminded you of something. Even the tiniest, blandest, simplest light holds a wonderful secret. Thanks, Emily. Now
Is she
I know
calling you
why I'm
bland?
here. It's a sign. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I think she was telling me that I was the tiniest, littlest, most wimpiest light, as she would say, maybe.
Kind of rude. I must say I'm not a fan of that.
Is it still a cutscene? It is still a cutscene. Dang, this one might be one of the longest cutscenes I've ever seen. Jared. There's something special about Jared. Our destinies will intersect. Emily, I gotta tell you, the only thing special about me is that I happen to be double jointed in one thumb. Only. So, fun fact. Also true fact, in case you're doubting that. That's real. I can
Crazy.
dislocate at will one thumb. Can't do any of my other joints at will. Against my will, certainly can.
Ooh. Don't like that.
Me neither. All right, Emily, you know why I'm here. Open the door and let me give you your mandatory fruit. You're not even here Where'd you go? You couldn't have walked past me.
The cutscene was too long.
Oh my gosh. Is that a thing? That they'll just disappear to be wherever they need to be?
Well, not in single player, but in multiplayer, like everyone's schedules keep on going.
I walked out the house and it's another cutscene. Ah, another beautiful day in Pelican Town. Birds.
Another Emily cutscene? Wow.
It's the birds. Wait, is this the hurt bird? Is there going to be a hurt bird here? Nope. Looks like they're just regular friendly birds. Hang on. Oop, I was tricked. There it is. Bird attack. Bird window attack. Your wing's broken. Berkeley, can birds IRL recover from a broken wing?
I kind of doubt it. Maybe if they get lucky, it like heals correctly. I mean, humans need to set their bones in order to get them to heal correctly. But maybe there's a chance that it just heals correctly on its own.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance, I'd hope. Alright, I'm going back in. You didn't get your fruit yet, Emily. You're not Emily. Where's Emily? Still not here. Good times.
They might be working at the saloon now.
It's 7:40. That's the first thing I did today was go over to Emily's house. And it is now 7:50 p.m.
But Barman wants to know, what about kiwi or ostrich?
Oh, that's a good point. They're flightless, so they don't really need wings to survive, probably. I'm not a bird expert. All right. Has everybody received a gift? Yes. Okay. All right. Well, happy American Independence Day, or as I like to call it, Dunk on the British Day, um, to everybody. We didn't stream last week because of that celebration, but now we're
Oh,
back.
what? I was just waiting for you to join
I just
for
didn't
hours.
show up. Wow.
Nah, just kidding. We forgot to communicate, but came to the same decision independently.
That's actually super interesting. I didn't even consider that. For some reason, I just thought that we had talked about it.
Maybe we did and I forgot. I definitely forgot to tell all of you, so I apologize, dear viewers, for not making an announcement about missing last week. But we missed last week. Burning down the house day. Great name.
It is, especially if you say it like you're in an 80s pop song.
Burning down the house.
That's right.
Who's that by?
I genuinely could not tell you if my life depended on it. I've listened to it before, but it's...
I could also not tell you, but in like an ironic way. It's like cool that I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't listen to sellout music. So...
Once it's on the radio, I stop listening to it forever.
By the way,
shoot, it's almost late.
Chat, how's the sound sounding? We went back and listened to the Portal stream, and the game was pretty loud, but no one was complaining, so I was just curious. How do we sound? Is there sound? Is it?
Obama says talking heads.
Does there?
Thank you.
Ah, there you go.
Obama says sounds good. Portal's much louder. Yeah, that's what we were thinking. We felt bad about last time, but we're hoping it was a Portal specific issue.
Yeah, we took some steps to address it, so hopefully it'll be smooth listening from here on out.
Mm-hmm. Holy cow, 8,000 gold from truffles. Love that. Thank you, pigs.
I will never not think of Waking Ned Divine when we talk about the pigs. I can't not think about it.
Still haven't seen it, so it's actually quite easy for me not to think about it.
Well, congratulations to you. Also, speaking of congratulations to you, Berkeley, we have an important announcement, and we have to bust out the trap horn for this. Berkeley, I heard that you've played your first Zelda game. Is this true?
Yes, I wouldn't say played past tense, more like playing present tense.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty early in it. But yeah, I am finally playing Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
You guys want to hear about a cool game from 7 years ago?
It still holds up, I think.
It does. It's pretty good. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. Thanks for everyone who has recommended it over the years. We've talked about it on the stream before, and happy to finally be diving in to Hyrule.
More like Hyrule.
More like Hyrule.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, so that's my first ever Zelda game, and I have really enjoyed a lot of the mechanics. Like the bomb is cool. You've got like this freeze time ability that's cool. Just the puzzles in general, I've really enjoyed. It's been not quite as good as Portal's puzzles, but that's all Portal does. So you can't expect other people to compete. The music has been so pleasant.
Yeah.
Graphics hold up pretty well. Not quite as beautiful as Assassin's Creed, I've got to say, but very, very nice.
That, in my opinion, is Nintendo's biggest downfall. They have some great intellectual property, but they just don't back it up with hardware performance. And I know that they sell consoles because that's where they make a lot of their money, I think, profit margin wise. But
really, I thought consoles were loss leaders.
You know, that could be true. I don't know. I've always heard the opposite, but I've never actually looked into it myself. So I'm speaking from a place of hearsay. But I'm curious, Berkeley. Is it what you expected it to be? hype did you hear around Zelda games before you played that motivated you to finally take the plunge?
The main hype that I heard originally was actually like the graphics in the world. Maybe not like the high tech fidelity of the graphics, but like just the vibes of the world.
Yeah.
Which I think have maybe not aged quite as well as other parts of the game. The reputation of Zelda in general that got me interested was like the puzzles and mostly the puzzles, honestly. Like
the puzzles,
combat mixed with puzzles in cool ways. And yeah, that has really held up. The voice acting has been a bit of a turnoff for me. I usually play on mute and avoid interacting with NPCs.
Yeah.
But you know, that's fine. My main complaint so far is again a Nintendo thing, how they've like some of the mechanics require you to physically move the device that you're playing on, which I don't enjoy, but it's been rare enough that I don't super mind it. Like there have been a couple puzzles that were just kind of simulated. You know those games where you're like rolling a ball through a puzzle?
Mm-hmm.
There's
like
been a
Labyrinth.
few games. Yeah, there's been a few puzzles that were basically that, which I was not a fan of, but mostly use it for aiming arrows better, which has actually been kind of neat. It's nice to use the joystick a little bit and then use the physical switch to aim a little more. People probably don't want to hear my nitpicks though. Overall, good game. Recommend it, especially if you are 7 years ago.
If you end up back in time somehow and you survive long enough to be 7 years ago, give it a shot.
Yes.
That's some good advice. They're going to do a Back to the Future series remake, and the second movie is just going to be that as the plot. And it will continue the tradition of the second movie being a letdown for that franchise. Also, speaking of movies being a letdown, I have not seen the new Indiana Jones yet, but I've heard that it super bombed. And I find that pretty funny because I don't know anybody who is saying, yeah, we need another Indiana Jones.
Right? I was so confused that so from what I heard, Harrison Ford was a little bit grudging about doing more Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Like part of his contract was that his character had to die in episode 7, is what I've heard. So it was so weird to me that he would agree to a 5th Indiana Jones movie after people were already kind of raising their eyebrows at the 4th.
Right.
I saw Instagram accounts bragging about how it took like 100 designers 3 years to do all the VFX to age him down. Which really? Why would anyone be bragging about that? It's fine that people age, but maybe they don't need to play Indiana Jones anymore after doing so.
Right.
There's other roles that they can play.
There are. And I would say, actually, since we were talking about Back to the Future just before this, the guy who plays Doc Watson, I sure hope that's his name, because I fully committed to that. It's probably not even Doc Watson. It's probably Doc Brown.
That's Sherlock Holmes you're thinking of.
Yeah. He has been in several other roles that I've really liked him in. And guess what? He's been an old guy. Each time. Authentically. Wow. And I there's something to be said for authenticity. Because sometimes the fake youth or the fake old just doesn't really live up to the character depth, if that makes sense. It makes the characters feel off. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. But Barma says like 007 Ford, Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
But thank you. I'm not committed enough to do a voice for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was wonderful. Just what we needed.
Back to the Zelda thing. So I don't tell Nintendo this, but I happen to have made a couple archival copies of, and by a couple I mean one, of a Zelda game for GameCube that I find really, really fun. Controls-wise, it probably doesn't hold up to, like, modern standards, but once you finish Breath of the Wild, if that's something you're ever capable of truly doing, as not you as a person, I'm not judging your ability, but I'm saying it's a game that probably doesn't really have an end. Actually, I know that it doesn't have an end, and I was a little salty about it. Anyways, we should maybe get together and play that. I'm really curious what you'd think about some of the older entries. My favorite Zelda game is Twilight Princess, and a lot of people make fun of it for being really edgy, but Breath of the Wild,
like that edgy content.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that side of the Zelda franchise because it made some really interesting world building, and Breath of the Wild leans into some of that somewhat, but man, Twilight Princess is just on a different level. But chat, tell us your favorite Zelda game if you have one. If you don't have one, make up what you think a Zelda game would be called and say that.
Given the titles that we know, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, train a little neural network to spit out new game titles. Let us know what it says.
Breath of the Kingdom.
What did I miss? Water, Wind Water Rider?
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Water Rider was the official title. Yeah,
in Japan. Was actually their like code name that they used while they were developing.
Speaking of wind and water, Berkeley, I've been thinking a lot of one of my favorite shows that I don't think we've really talked about on stream. Can you guess what it is?
I can't guess because you told me earlier. Chat, can you guess what it is?
I threw you such a slow pitch, and you decided to let it pass by.
I sure did. Give me a quicker one next time. Yeah, we want to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That is right.
What do you want to say about Avatar: The Last Airbender?
It is such a good show, maybe the best show, and it's also a very stable genius.
Wait, it's a. But Barmer says, which one has the wolf alter character? I think that's Twilight Princess.
That is Twilight Princess.
Okay, sorry. Resume. It's a great show.
It is. It starts out as many shows do, being having to find its voice a little bit, find how it fits in. What the heck have I walked into? There's a character called Henchman, which, if he was in the Over the Garden Wall universe, would be the Henchman, and then he'd have a little song. But this Henchman is just Henchman, and he says, "We are human. You want to pass? I'm sorry. This is private property." He does look genuinely sad. Well, hey man, props to you for being polite about it. I'm out of here. Anyways, back to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Wait, did he give you any like conditions for crossing his bridge?
Nope.
Okay.
I probably could have been persistent, but he told me I was on private property, and I did not want to find out if Stardew Valley has a stand your ground law.
That would explain a lot of the monster's behavior in the mines.
Right.
To be honest.
This is our home. You don't
Can you
belong
give us
here.
the summary of Avatar before we talk too much about it?
I can. How spoilery should it be?
Not spoilery.
Not spoilery. Okay. Boy with rare abilities and shady? Mysterious past shows up in a place where he's not supposed to be and ends up befriending a couple of siblings who take him on a journey while evading a murderous empire of goons. and there is magic and whimsy and cute animals and a lot of humor. And it looks like a kid's show, but boy does it hit the spot as an adult. So, and also, but it's still great for kids, right? It has a lot of great, I feel it has a lot of great life lessons in it. And I think kids of all ages would enjoy it and find it worthwhile. Although, you know, if you ask a 4-year-old what they want to watch, they're not going to be like, something worthwhile.
No, it's very entertaining. It's, very funny, but then also heartwarming.
Yeah. Yeah, and also deals with, like, grief and just all the themes of a life lived in turmoil. So I really, really enjoy it. I identify a lot with one of the characters.
Toph?
Is it Toph? No, it's not Toph. That's pretty funny though. No. I wish I was that wise. No, for me it's Zuko.
Okay.
Second season into third season, I feel like. Not that my life story is Zuko's life story, but just some of the questions and growing that Zuko has to do, I feel like everybody has to do in some way, but I identify with that really strongly.
Yeah, I often see Zuko brought up as like one of the top 3 redemption arcs of all time. Oh, sorry, maybe that was too spoilery, but yeah, really well-written character.
Yeah.
My wife uses Avatar a lot to demonstrate the importance of filler episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of shows, holy cow, we made 42,000 gold.
36.
That's so many.
36K on just Starfruit. That's wild.
That was mostly on wine.
Oh.
But that was mostly Starfruit wine, so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you click in to the plus signs, it'll tell you the details of
29.2 from 13 Starfruit wines. That's amazing. I love bootlegging. So you were saying something about
filler episodes.
Yeah.
So I can really appreciate when a book or a movie or a TV show has like a really tight plot where every story beat is important and like everything has to come together just so, in a way where like you can't change one thing without ruining other things. I've got like a lot of respect for that type of story writing. But if you want to have like a really character driven, emotionally resonant story, I feel like, and my wife has convinced me, thank you, Megan, in the chat, that you need filler episodes. Like you need times in between where the characters can build relationships and discover who they are, and the audience can discover who they are. You just can't do that if you're like always moving from plot point to plot point.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of like movie and TV adaptations of books get wrong, is that they try to like hit all the plot points, but they don't get the in-between points that give you that emotional payoff.
Yes.
When certain things happen. And Avatar is very, very good at that. Each season has a great plot and it's exciting and you're invested the whole time. But there's also a lot of parts within episodes and even entire episodes that are just, okay, I don't want to say just because I've been explaining why they're important, but they're filler episodes where like you could take them out and the plot still makes sense, but the character development doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, they don't explicitly serve the overarching story, but they add flavor and meaning to what's already there in a way that does. I gotta say, Tales of Ba Sing Se makes me cry every time. Every single time. I can't get through it without crying at the end. Anyways, yeah, it's a great show. I can't recommend it enough. I was showed it by my cousin. How old was I? Probably 12 at the time. We had gone up to the Olympic National Forest in Washington and rented out a little house, and we were just spending the week hiking, but we had to drive to the hikes because we're not that. we're not the hike
Not
it in
real
all the way
fans.
family, right? So we so we drive to trailheads and then do little day hikes. And
For sure.
my
That's the way to do it.
cousin brought the second season and a little tiny DVD player with a screen. You know how they used to have those in cars back before cell phones. So he brought that along, and he was watching it, and I thought the art looked cool, and so he was kind enough to actually start over from the beginning of the season. He didn't have season 1 with him. And so I had watched half of season 2, and that was my first exposure to it. And then we didn't own it, and this was back before you could do a ton of like web ordering, so we had to try to like find it on actual TV, and I think we had a recording service at the time that we could like record TV episodes on and then go back and watch it. So we slowly pieced it together, and then season 3 came out after we had caught all the way up, and we managed to get the box set of everything together at that point. But you told me this. I didn't know this actually until we talked about it tonight, but I remember watching a few episodes with you when we were in high school, and what did you tell me, Berkeley? This made me laugh so hard.
I don't remember how he phrased it, but I didn't enjoy it at the time. I kind of turned my nose up at it. I don't remember why, but well, I remember a little bit of why. We can get into that later if we want.
Yeah.
But then I rewatched it later. My wife grew up loving it, watched it with her family, and had really fond memories of it, and rightly so. So she convinced me to give it another try, and now I love and respect it for the artwork it is, even though I didn't watch it until I was like 22.
So why didn't you like it? I want to know.
I think it was like a wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. So I don't know if you remember this. Someone at our high school decided to start drama where people were like judging each other and forming cliques around whether they preferred the show Avatar: The Last Airbender or the show Friends.
Dude, I don't remember this at all. But I gotta say, if you like Friends, you are. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't like Friends.
Well, yeah, I don't like Friends either. But that's not the point. The point is that those shows are so different. Why is anyone making categories based on them?
Right.
So that was strike 1. Strike 2 was that, like, the way I remember it, 5 or 6 people showed up at my house with the DVDs and was like, "This is what we're doing tonight." Which,
yeah,
maybe I should have been more chill about. That was nice of you all to do. But that was strike 2. And then strike 3 was I was just a snotty teenager who wanted to be too cool for everything. So I remember being bugged that, like, just the physics didn't make any sense, which was so dumb because it's anime and also magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, all 3 bad reasons that it just did not land right at the time.
I think it's okay to be bugged about the physics if it's trying to portray itself as realism. Now that I have a little bit of STEM education, there are some things that I can't enjoy so much anymore. So I get that. But man, that's crazy. I didn't remember that many people had like suggested that as an idea. And you gotta text me the name of who that was who's making the category. I was oblivious to this, as I was to most things.
I think it most well. No, yeah, I'll text you later. I don't want to air anyone's dirty laundry here. Let me catch up on the chat. Babarma says, new game suggestion, Dawn Prince. I haven't heard of that one. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I would love to know too. I haven't heard of that either.
Yeah, that's my Avatar's tale. One benefit of getting into it late is I watched the movie, which is widely acknowledged as a horrible adaptation.
Yes.
Oh, that's the fake new Zelda game. I'm sorry. We took way too long getting to that, and I forgot the context. Dawn Prince. Legend of Zelda Dawn Prince. Love it. I would play that for sure. But only if it was at least 5 years old, because I don't play the cool games. I play the were previously cool games.
They're still cool, inside, in here.
Jared, I would love to tell the people about a book I've been reading.
Tell the people about the book.
Okay, I am rereading one of my all-time favorite books, top 3 all-time books. It's called The Anthropocene Reviewed. I'm gonna hold it up a little bit to do a little infographic.
Let me look at it.
See if that actually shows up in the camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see it.
Okay, great. So this is by the author John Green, who you might know from his YA books. He wrote Looking for Alaska, Fault in Our Stars, Turtles All the Way Down. I think those are his 3 most popular. So he's been writing YA novels for a long time. He's got a reputation. They're very, very good, but they're definitely written for teenagers, and so oftentimes adults will read them and think that they're melodramatic and self-indulgent. I enjoy them, but I know that a lot of people don't enjoy his YA books. This is something totally new. This was his first nonfiction that he ever read. Oh, we've got another game suggestion. Ganondorf was right.
Oh no. One of these things is not like the others.
That's when you want to get really edgy with your media. Okay, so this book is John Green's first nonfiction. It started as a podcast, actually, and there were radio essays where he would just take something that fascinates him and give it a rating out of 5 stars. Was the premise or the gimmick of his podcast. But they were all so deep and well thought out. He'll start describing the history of Dr. Pepper, for example, but then weave it into really poignant thoughts about himself and about the world and about what it means to be human. And they all, most of them start off pretty silly, and all of them end up somewhere really meaningful. So there are podcast episodes, and then he decided to make a book where he adapted many of the episodes into essays.
Can I step in to say that I have not listened to a lot of Anthropocene Reviewed, but I've listened to 2 very meaningful episodes that helped address, if you know what doomerism is, it's kind of just the pessimistic view of the future. I feel like a lot of people from our generation have. And these episodes did a great job of addressing it in a sensitive and yet very poignant way. Does that make sense? Powerful. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. One of the things that motivated John to write these, Mr. Green, excuse me, I stopped using first name. One of the things that motivated the author to write these was that he was on a book tour and people kept talking about the mental health struggles of his characters that he had written and assuming that they were his mental health struggles. And he just started feeling really unnerved and unsettled by the way that people assumed that they knew him through his characters. And so he decided to just write about himself for the first time. And a big part of that was writing about his own mental health. So I think he does an amazing job. It's interesting throughout the essays, he'll often praise other people for doing a good job of acknowledging hopelessness or depression without giving into it. And I just think it's funny that he praises so many other people for that, because that is one of the main things that shines through in this book that I think he does an amazing job at, of really diving into dark places sometimes, or at least acknowledging painful things about the world.
Yeah.
But in a way that ends that leaves you feeling hopeful, not because he just brushed over it or gave you some pithy words of comfort, but because you really move through the grief and come out on the other side with something more valuable. And I'd actually like to read a passage like that.
Yeah,
if everyone's cool with that.
Love to hear it.
Okay. I am just gonna hop into bed first and then start reading. Okay, so this excerpt I'm gonna read is from one of his essays called Sycamore Trees, or the Sycamore Tree. One of those two. This one he also actually put on YouTube. So if you want a free sample of what this book is like, you can search John Green Sycamore Trees and listen to the whole essay. But in this one, he is talking a lot about depression. He doesn't always focus on depression. I don't want people to think that this whole book is like sad or heavy, but that happens to be the theme of this essay. Okay, this is from the Anthropocene Reviewed. It says, despair isn't very productive. That's the problem with it. Like a replicating virus, all despair can make is more of itself. If feeling despair made me a more committed advocate for justice or environmental protection, I'd be all for it. But the white light of despair instead renders me inert and apathetic. I struggle to do anything. It's hard to sleep, but it's also hard not to. I don't want to give in to despair. I don't want to take refuge in the detached ridicule of emotion. I don't want to be cool if cool means being cold to or distant from the reality of experience. Depression is exhausting. It gets old so fast, listening to the elaborate prose of your brain tell you that you're an idiot for even trying. When the game is being played, I feel certain it will never end. But that is a lie, like most certainties. Now always feels infinite and never is. I was wrong about life's meaninglessness when I was a teenager, and I'm wrong about it now. The truth is far more complicated than mere hopelessness. So I get shivers every time I read or hear that. Maybe I didn't give enough context for the whole effect, but yeah, he just does such a good job describing through different parts of the book. He'll describe just injustice or grief from losing someone, or anxiety, or he experiences OCD as well. He'll describe these things so well. And then after that, in this essay in particular, he goes on to a story about just standing under a tree with his son and like feeling like that's the point of life, and gets to these really beautiful places. So I love it. There's a few that make me cry every time. That's one, the Sycamore Tree. He's got an episode on Auld Lang Syne, the song that is traditionally sung at New Year's. That one's also on Spotify or wherever you get podcasts, and is in the book. Is incredible. I highly recommend. But yeah, that's the Anthropocene Reviewed. I highly recommend it, and it's super nice that it's a podcast if you want to get a taste of it there first before committing to the book.
Would you like to give it a star rating?
5 stars. Yeah, unequivocally.
Excellent.
Yeah, just a few of the other essays he does. He does one on Mario Kart where he like talks about playing with his friends, talks about like playing with his dorm mates in high school, but then also talks about how it's so interesting that the game rewards the people who are in last place when life rewards the people who are in first place. So like you'll think you're just hearing cute stories about his life, and then he'll twist it into just really good social commentary. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening. I care about that book a lot, and I have not succeeded in convincing very many people to read it. Maybe I'll get someone today.
Yeah. And just again, well written. If you have time to listen to the podcast, I strongly recommend that. What I've heard of it has been great, and so it sounds like does the book expand on the ideas in some of the episodes? Is that fair to say, or is it a transcription?
I think many of them are actually abridgments.
Oh, interesting.
But then there's more of them. There's like a few that are exclusive to the book that aren't in the podcast, and it'll have like more footnotes and other context for things.
Yeah. So if you have listened to the podcast and you enjoy it, and maybe you want something a little bit more physical that you could annotate and think about, sit with, that sounds like a great way to do that as well.
Yeah, he also signed every single copy of the first print run.
Wow.
He said that it's actually, the books are more valuable if they don't have a signature at this point, because that means something weird happened. So he's got one of the only negative value author signatures in the world.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Berkeley, we're trying to get our crafting up, right? Or not crafting, foraging. That's the one. You're trying to get your foraging up.
Yeah, what am I at? My foraging is still at level 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we can get it to level 10, then our truffles are going to become a lot more valuable.
There is a forageable out by the bus stop, in case you were looking for one.
I will go get it, thanks. Yeah, I guess we haven't talked much about the game that we're playing today. We're still just kind of in that same mode of making money, making friends, and gaining skills. Not much that's too sophisticated going on right now. Whoa, Jared, we've got 55 apricots in the chest.
Yeah.
We're probably growing them faster than you can give them away at this point, right?
That is true. Yes.
Cool. I might start using them for wine and jam then, because we have been spending our star fruits on wine and jam faster than we can grow them.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me.
My wife was telling me about other challenge runs she's seen for Stardew Valley. We picked the no tools run because it's in many ways less challenging than actual challenge runs, and we're not very skilled. But there were a whole bunch of silly ones. She showed me one called, I think it was called Uh-Oh Spaghetti-O is the name of the challenge, and the point is to die while having spaghetti in your inventory as soon as possible. There's another one called Hold My Beer, where you have to gift someone a beer and then run through the second mine that's by the quarry.
Yeah.
You have to run through that with no weapons or armor.
Oh, dang.
After gifting someone a beer. This is very, very funny. I'm glad that people are so creative. I love that people just share wonderful, delightful, silly ideas.
And just since we're on the topic of challenges, I still think a no sleep run could be interesting. If you want to see that, chat, make some noise, because I don't think I've convinced Berkeley yet.
So I think it would be super fun. I would just saw it as an alternative to getting perfection or moving towards perfection. I don't have enough mental space for 2 things at a time.
That is completely fair.
Megan says, no, you have to die, lose the spaghetti, and then say, uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Oh, spaghetti-os. Okay. Thanks for clarifying. And she says, yes, do the no sleep run. Okay. Well, there you go.
Thanks, Megan, in the chat. You're a real one.
But Parma says, no sleep is in players don't sleep. Oh, dear.
I don't think I can afford that.
There are insane streamers that will stream for 36 hours straight. I don't know how they do that.
I could not.
This one would be the characters don't sleep. So every day you get the 1,000 gold penalty or whatever.
And stuff stolen, etc.
And stuff stolen, and you wake up the next day with less energy.
Yeah.
One of the hidden benefits of the no tools run has been how I almost never run out of energy.
That's true.
Every single playthrough I've done, by year 3, I've had some crop that I'm just eating constantly. But
I
go here.
Really wish that worked in real life, because I don't ever use hand tools in real life, and I'm always tired. Oh, man. So, whoa, strange man. He looks like a
Yeah.
bandit from a Western film.
You should talk to him.
Howdy, bandito. Oh, he's an old mariner. I've got this old amulet to sell, but something tells me you're not ready for it, lad. He's a Scotsman? Gross.
All mariners say lad.
Oh. Maybe he really is a bandito then. Bandito of the sea. Ooh, that'd be an interesting D&D character. Like, really lean into the Western thing, but you're a pirate.
Yeah. There's a new subclass that is pretty much designed to be a pirate. I think it's called a swashbuckler. And is it a subclass of? I think it's a subclass of rogue. Yeah, that makes sense. I couldn't remember if it was rogue or bard. It gives you things like you can use your charisma to like stun people, or something like that. The ability names are things like panache. It's just wonderful.
I need one for like 1920s prize fighters with the same ability, but it's been relabeled as Moxie.
Okay, I'm almost out of hay. We need it to stop raining. It's ridiculous.
I wish it was raining where I live right now.
Oh, is it hot there?
It actually was not too bad today. It was only 82 today, so not too bad. But just it never rain. It hardly ever rains when it's not winter here, and then it's snowing because it's winter. So that's one thing I do miss about the Portland area is the rain.
I miss it too. But Barmer says the smolder has an alternative to panache or moxie.
The smolder. Yeah. That's if Disney got in on like a D&D rebrand or a
oh man,
D&D
can you
module.
imagine? But they'd love to get their grubby little mouse hands all over that RPG.
Their cartoonish gloved mitts. Berkeley, I know that I have a reputation for horrifyingly weird ideas, but my coworker recently shared one with me that completely caught me off guard, and I think has dethroned me as the weird idea haver. He was telling me that he didn't understand the statement, "This is the best invention since sliced bread," because sliced bread is such a low bar. And then I was like, yeah, but think about it. If you didn't have sliced bread, how would you make a sandwich? You just have to have 2 loaves, one for the top and one for the bottom. To which he replied, no, you just cover the entire outside with the sandwich goods, and the inside is the bread. And that horrified me so much that I couldn't reply. I just stared at him and burst out laughing. Can you imagine a PB&J?
Throw your lunch meat at it.
just a loaf of bread plastered in lunch meat and mayonnaise? No. And I don't like getting my hands sticky.
Loaf witch. That is too good. Yeah, you'd have real sticky hands depending on what you put on there.
An entire loaf covered in peanut butter and then with jelly over that.
There's a Wikipedia page for toast sandwich. It claims that it's a rare British food where you toast a slice of bread and then put 2 untoasted slices of bread around it.
Yeah.
Imagine making your loaf witch with that.
Dude, the British got really messed up by rationing. Because, like, we rationed in the States during World War II, but I think they didn't stop afterwards. I think they continued to ration into the 60s. I'm not 100% sure of that. This is, again, a very questionable fact by Jared.
Yeah,
but
we had rationing, and because of it, we have the Hershey Corporation. And also the Great Gatsby, which was not popular until it was distributed among soldiers.
And they had rationing, and they got toast sandwich and Bovril. And if you don't know what Bovril is, you're welcome. It's gross. I think it's gross. I'm sure there's some British person out there listening to this right now and shaking their fist at me and saying, "Damn Yank, in it! Tuesday, in it!"
But Barma says BLT loaf witch and PBJ loaf witch. That only works if the tomatoes are also whole.
No. Okay, but to be fair, if we're saying nothing can be sliced, it's whole hams. It's whole bacons. Like, there's no slices.
That's fair. He also says they rationed in the 50s. That is really sad. Yeah, well, tell your coworker. Well, maybe don't tell your coworker because that would be rude. But just know in your heart that the coworker has taken your throne.
He has finally earned. I can retire now. I've been looking for somebody to pass this on to. And we're finally
Barma says
there.
Whole Foods loaf witch. Is that not what Whole Foods sells?
Just whole. It's Whole Foods. You want bacon? Here's a pig.
Real Whole
You want
Foods.
eggs? Here's a chicken.
My screen is telling me. Oh, there we go. I was saying that you weren't in bed yet when I could see you there. Don't gaslight me, game. Man, it has been raining so long and we're just not getting truffles because of the rain. So it's so weird to go from 40,000 gold to 6,000. But plugging away. Dave and our pennies. Them's the breaks.
I mean, sorry. Ain't that just the way?
Ain't that them breaks? We have made a total of 1.5 million gold.
That is hardcore.
That's great news.
That is about 1.5 million more gold than I've ever made.
Yeah.
Look at all these pigs, man. This is crazy. I've probably said this before, but I feel like we're in a precursor episode to Spirited Away right now.
Hopefully it doesn't get that far.
Well, it's about that time again, Berkeley.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. We have so much fun streaming and we are so grateful for all of you for tuning in. Thanks for listening to our thoughts. Thanks for giving us your thoughts. Love hearing what you have to say in the chat, even if sometimes I forget to read it until minutes later and then forget what the context was. I'm trying to be better. I think I'm getting better.
You're doing great. It's hard to do 3 things at once.
Yeah, especially when you're as dumb as I am. We are on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. All of those links are in our link tree, which you can find in the About section of our Twitch page or in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. Should we tell them our idea?
Yeah, say the idea.
We think... No, let's commit. We are going to make a Discord server for us and you.
Hang
place
on,
where we can hang out. Oh.
Wind it back to the announcement. Hang
on. Point of yeah. That's exactly how I feel. Is that exact sound? Yeah, we're gonna make a Discord server. We're gonna make a channel for book reviews. We're gonna make a channel for video game recommendations. We're gonna we're probably going to have streams where we invite people in the Discord server into the voice channel to chat with us. You can stream with us. Just your voice. We're not inviting you into the farm. Sorry. There's only room for 2 of us.
That's right.
But you can chat with us. Yeah. What else is the Discord for? We can build a community. Chat with each other.
Yeah.
Be friends.
Share your ideas, your thoughts, what you're reading. If you want us to talk about something or you have something you'd like to come on and talk about, we'd love to talk about that with you as well. There's a lot of things you can do in Discord that Instagram just isn't great for.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram is a very I'm gonna serve you content and you're gonna like it, whereas Discord is a let's collaborate. So let's collaborate. We'll get I guess we'll feed you the details on Instagram, but after that, no more.
Yeah, I might still occasionally post stuff on Instagram, but yeah, I will keep an eye out for that. I'll post a link on Instagram, and then once we have it set up, we'll start including that in all the video descriptions and stuff, and put it in our link tree.
Yeah.
but you can join. All right. That's what we got for you. Thanks for joining. We enjoy you all. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.